And now for the shortest and least important video in my 2020 Democratic Contender series. Let's talk about Michael Avenatti and his odds of becoming the Democratic nominee for 2020. I rarely agree with Tucker Carlson. I think he's wrong about 98% of the time, give or take. But one thing that he said that really reverberates with me as being true is that Michael Avenatti is a creepy porn lawyer. And it's not so much that I think that that label is accurate about Mr. Avenatti, but I do think that it will summarize how a whole lot of voters would regard him. Many Americans are deeply skeptical of anyone who's been involved in porn, and they refuse to take that person seriously no matter what. Michael Avenatti, to the best of my knowledge, I'm not going to do deep research on him because I don't think he's worth it, since I really don't see him having any kind of chance here. But he is most known at this point for representing Stormy Daniels, a porn star. And because of that, no one will really be able to take him all that seriously. He's also advertised himself on social media. He tries to out-Trump Trump on Twitter. And although there was speculation early on that the Democrats need to find their own version of Trump to run against Trump, I think that that was idiotic speculation. This is by the same people who always say the Democrats need to move right every time that they're beaten. Or the same people who said that Hillary lost because she was too far left, something that is completely untrue when you compare where Hillary stands on issues to where the public stands as a whole, or especially where the Democratic base stands. So anyway, I just don't really see why anyone could or would or should take Michael Avenatti seriously. What's his platform? What is he going to run on? Sure, he opposed Trump. And the only reason why he's been able to gain some degree of fame for his stance against Trump is because the Democrats under Trump have been so damn weak when it comes to actually opposing him. The Mick resistance is all smoke and no fire. What exactly have Pelosi and Schumer done to try to stop Trump from doing anything? The only thing that they've done so far is try to block the Kavanaugh appointment. Other than that, they have made a lot of noise, but they haven't actually moved to block anything. They approved the Trump tax cuts without really too much of a fight. Then they approved an increased military budget a couple of different times. While also saying Trump is an unworthy commander-in-chief, then they gave him what amounts to the greatest power a commander-in-chief has ever had. It doesn't make sense, their strategy. And that's why someone like Michael Avenatti can appear to be somewhat refreshing, because he's just this brash, over-aggressive, overzealous guy who at least is fighting Trump tooth and nail, even if his strategy doesn't amount to anything more than representing a few people who have been personally wronged by Trump and his cronies. But another part of the problem is that Michael Avenatti clearly suffers from some form of megalomania. He thinks that his celebrity makes him qualified to be president, and it just isn't so. If Michael Avenatti is qualified on the basis that he was involved in a court case which involves Trump, what about all the people who were involved in court cases against Trump back before he was a presidential contender? The people who, say, sued him over any of the numerous business fiascos that he had? What about the people who had beef with him when he was the host of The Apprentice? Why aren't they contenders? The reason is simple. They're not political actors. They have no stake in the political system. These are people who have no plan. And the difference between them and Michael Avenatti doesn't exist. The only difference is Michael Avenatti happened to happen at a time when we have a weak-ass Democratic Party that has done nothing to oppose Trump. The thing is, though, I doubt Michael Avenatti will be able to keep up this little circus show all the way until 2020 and keep people's attention. Without a platform, he would get absolutely butchered in the Democratic primary. Unlike a lot of other candidates who I don't think have a chance, but whom I could see throwing the election one way or another or impacting the direction of the election, I don't think Michael Avenatti would have an impact. I don't think that his presence would cause any issues to be emphasized or to be added or dropped to the platform. The only possible impact I could see a Michael Avenatti run having is that it might slightly intensify the rhetoric against Trump that the Democrats would run on. The thing is, they're already going to be running hard against Trump on a rhetorical basis and probably making fun of him, attacking his record on all points, etc. So whatever impact Michael Avenatti would have would be very, very minuscule. And again, no one is going to vote for this guy in a primary. There's no fucking way. So anyway, that's all I have to say about Michael Avenatti. I might be willing to revisit this topic if he actually produces a resume of some kind, in terms of putting out a platform that people could get behind, or if the other Democrats completely continue to cave for the next 2 years, and then Michael Avenatti stands out as the only guy who is vehemently and consistently anti-Trump, in which case I would be willing to revisit his candidacy. But until and unless those things happen, I just don't think this guy has any shot, and I don't even know why he's included in the damn CNN polls, because it's a ridiculous question, and I assume some of the people who say, yeah, I'd support Avenatti are trolling the pollsters, because I just don't think it's gonna fucking happen. Anyway, that's all I got to say about Michael Avenatti, the creepy porn lawyer.